Ever wondered why we get so attached to things like an old pair of jeans, a broken mug, or an ex who is as useful as a chocolate teapot? We humans are curious creatures, aren't we? We bind ourselves in the strangest of attachments, from that worn-out baseball cap to that high school sweetheart who never quite made it to the sweet part. It's a universal oddity, this thing we call attachment. But fear not, my friends. Well, folks, breaking attachment isn't as impossible as finding a unicorn in your backyard. Remember when you broke up with your high school sweetheart and you thought you'd never survive? But here you are, all grown up and still kicking. It's a bit like that with attachments, you know. You cling on to them, thinking they're the be-all and end-all. But guess what? They're not. Just like the time when you were convinced that you couldn't possibly live without your sweetheart's daily dose of dramatic poetry or those hideously matching sweaters. In hindsight, doesn't it all seem a tad bit melodramatic and, dare I say, a little irrational? Attachments can be the same way. You believe you can't live without them, but once you let go, you realize you've been holding on to a whole lot of nothing. It's like holding onto a balloon that's already lost its air. It's just not worth it. So you see, breaking attachments is just like surviving a high school breakup. It's tough, but not the end of the world. Now you may ask, how do I break attachments? Well, it's easier than trying to teach a cat to play fetch. Let's start with acceptance. Imagine you've just baked a cake. You've followed the recipe to a T, but it still comes out looking like a pancake. You wouldn't keep insisting it's a three-tiered masterpiece, right? So why do the same with attachments? Accept the situation. It's a pancake, not a cake. Next, focus on the present. If you've ever tried to walk while staring at your feet, you'll know it's a recipe for tripping up. The past can be like those feet. Stare too long and you're bound to stumble. Keep your eyes forward, focused on the now. Finally, self-love. Think of yourself as your favorite book. You wouldn't let anyone dog-ear the pages or scribble in the margins, would you? Treat yourself with the same care and respect. So remember, folks, breaking attachment is like trying to get rid of a bad haircut. It might feel like the end of the world at first, but eventually you'll look back and laugh at how silly it all was. So here we are, about to end this roller coaster ride about breaking attachments. We've navigated the conundrum, weathered the breakup blues, and mastered the art of letting go. Remember, it's not about breaking your heart, it's about breaking those sticky attachments. It's like dealing with a bad haircut, folks. At first it's a shocker, but then you realize it's not the end of the world. And remember, next time you're struggling with attachment, just think of it as a high school breakup or a bad haircut. You'll get through it, and who knows, you might even get a good laugh out of it.